Welcome to War Thunder with Subdude. How y'all doing today? Well, it's day 2 of the DevServer, and I've had a chance to digest everything. I made a video yesterday, and I really wasn't exactly impressed with everything that got tossed into the game this time. And I understand why this was such a letdown from the last one. The last patch really had a lot of things going for it as far as rank 8 aircraft. And honestly, it did fairly well. But there were things that could have been done differently. And they're trying to make up for it in this patch. One of the things they did is they gave us the A6E tram. Don't get me wrong, lovely plane. Very impressive capabilities. But this patch they added the F4S Phantom II, which is basically an F4J Phantom II with some minor changes. Now, I realize they could not have used that as the prime purchase point to get people to buy a pack. They had to put something unique out. And A6E was unique. As a matter of fact, it was about the only unique aircraft that was put out. Now somebody's going to go, oh, but the J35 XS or SX was unique. No, it wasn't. It was a J35. The A6E, on the other hand, is unlike any other platform on the game. Yes, it's an attack aircraft, but it's a different configuration than the A7D or the A10A or the A7E. It's completely unarmed other than what it carries in its external stores. It has no internal weapons. Now, they did do the pleasantries of adding the AIM-9Ls to the plane, which gives it a fairly competent self-defense capability. But I really wouldn't use the A6E tram in an air defense capability. It's not that good. It's a good plane, but it's not a world beater. The F4S, on the other hand, it's a Phantom. It can fight. But there's 3 other Phantoms in the game. Who wants to buy another Phantom? And they got feedback, I will guess. So they went, okay, let's give them an F4S. And we'll put it at the same $70 price point. Joy. something a little different might have been in a line, like maybe F-20 Tiger Shark. Yeah, it was Tiger Shark. That would have been different. But it is what it is. We won't bemoan that one. Germany got really goofed. They got another MiG-21. Dear God, how many MiG-21s do we need in this game? Especially when you get to the level that this is. Rank 7, rank 8. Now, I don't think any MiG-21 is ever going to make it into rank 8. But you've got a MiG-21 BIS SAU. Do you need a MiG-21 BIS Laser M? No, you don't. But it's a premium. Yeah. At $70. They could have made the Tornado IDS that premium. That would have been interesting. It's already lower in battle rating than the Tornado IDS Asta 1. But because it's got anti-shipping missiles and technically anti-air missiles, technically, because you can kill aircraft on the runway. The Tornado IDS for the Fliegermarine, I probably got that wrong. Marine Flieger is an excellent plane at rank 8. It should be at rank 7, but it's at rank 8. But it was a award for the event Winter Quest, which I'm not having a problem with. In my opinion, it was a good reward. And then we got the MiG-29 this patch for the Germans. Actually, that's an excellent addition. The MiG-23 MLA was starting to show the long teeth. Don't get me wrong, it still was getting plenty of kills, but it wasn't all that. And besides, you already had a backup in the name of the MiG-23 ML, which pretty much carried about the same weaponry. And you had the MiG-21 BIS SAU, the MiG-21 MF, you were already doing pretty good. But pretty good doesn't really cut it when the enemy can hit you from beyond visual range and beyond detection. the MiG-29 is a good addition. The Yak-141. I honestly would not have thought that they were going to add it, but they did. And I'll be honest, I'm impressed with it. It's a very nice plane. It maneuvers well. It carries decent armament. It is not a multi-purpose aircraft. Yes, it can carry bombs and rockets. It's got a pretty good selection of bombs and rockets. But its main purpose is an interceptor, a fighter. This is the sort of plane that you really want out there to defend your fleet. Now, the VTOL capabilities of the plane are there. No problem with that. 99.99% of all battles at this battle rating, rank 12 or rank 8, battle rating 12, are all ground-based battles. There's no need to do vertical takeoff. I know, it's cute. I love it. Oh, isn't that cute? No. You don't need to. It takes off like a kite. You can put the heaviest missiles on it, and it will lift off the ground with a full tank of gas like a kite. Unlike its predecessor, the Yak-38. The Yak-38 is a brick. It is a point it in a direction and go. It's like the F-104, only worse, because it isn't supersonic, except in a dive. The Yak-141 is supersonic, and it can maneuver. Nice plane, good arms, and unique. I like it. Now, somebody's probably going to go, well, what about the MiG-29? Well, MiG-29 does hold its position. Yak-141 will lose to the MiG-29 in a dogfight, but at least it can start to hold its own, unlike the MiG-23. It won't get completely owned by a F-16 or a Tomcat if the pilot is being aware. It's a decent aircraft. Now, I wouldn't mind trying out that hover behind a mountain, pop up, launch a radar or heat-seeking missile at a distant target, and then drop down, especially a heat seeker. The, what is it? R-27Ts. They got a pretty good range. Pop up from behind a mountain, lock them up, fire, drop down. You put a missile out, they may not even know you were there. Definitely a good plane. And again, it's unique. It's not a cookie cutter aircraft. Great Britain. The Tornado F3. Oh, joy. The GR1 is useful. It carries a bomb load. It only carries 2 missiles for self-defense, but it also has 2 cannons. The F3, on the other hand, is a missile bus. And I use the term bus for a reason. It has 1 cannon, and it carries up to 8 missiles. 4 Sidewinders, 4 Skyflash. As of my playing on the DevServer yesterday, the radar had a heck of a time locking up anything, and when it did lock it up, the Skyflash wouldn't recognize the target. Now, that could be me, but I don't think so. I think that they need to do some work on this plane. Maneuverability, it rolls. Yeah, that's it. It rolls. It's fast and it rolls. It doesn't pull. It's a tornado. It's heavy. It does not pull. You can't get it to turn or climb. It will climb. Don't get that wrong. It climbs very well. But you can't loop it unless you're looking at a 3,000 meter loop. Meanwhile, the F5 is going to cut inside of you and basically hand you your lunch. 11.3? Nah. 11.0? Nah. 10.7. And actually, 10.7 would be good for the GR1. There's nothing wrong with the aircraft to do what it was designed to do. And that does not exist in War Thunder. It was an interceptor, a bomber killer. Climb to altitude, pick up the bombers on long-range radar, lock the missile on, and fire. That doesn't exist in War Thunder. We don't have fleets of bombers coming in to drop their payload. Now, if Gaijin would like to add that capability to the game, they don't even have to be player controlled. They can be AI. fleets of Bears, Tu-95 for those of you that are worried, or B-52s or B-47s or whatever the Chinese are flying. Vulcan bombers. I don't know if the French had anything. Maybe they did. I just don't know about it. But yeah, there's only a few nations that actually have or had long-range strategic bombers. And I think U.S., Britain, and Russia and China are it. Everyone else stuck to tactical bombers. Now, you could make those fleets, what are they, H-5s for China and the IL-28s and Tu-14s and the Yak-28s. Make them AI bomber fleets. You get a Vic, 2 Vics of IL-28s coming in to drop ordnance on your base. And your job is, as an interceptor, is to go up and kill them before they can do that. And they have to get to altitude. And let's give the IL-28s long-range air-to-ground missiles. You have to get to them before they can launch the missiles. And if you can't get to them by then, you have to go after the missiles. Interesting solution, interesting proposition. I think one of those big Russian missiles was called a Kelt. That was a NATO name. I don't know what the Russian designation of it was. Doesn't matter. But the Tornado F3 is an interceptor, not a dogfighter. Britain is going to have to wait until the Tornado is available. If you want a dogfight, you're better off with the Harrier or the Phantom. Even the Lightning is better at dogfighting than the Tornado. It's a brick. Japan, the F-16 AJ. Well, some people might be going, they never really... Stop. Just stop. What you're seeing is the precursor to the F-2. Yes, I'm not going to insult the Japanese and say that they copied the F-16. They did a revamp that was absolutely great. The F-2 is a much better aircraft than the F-16 AJ. And when it comes, not if it comes, it's going to be a game-changing type of addition. Will it be top tier rank 8? Might even be rank 9. Yes, I said that, rank 9. Because of the weaponry it carries. Now, I think that was the AAM-2 and the AAM-3. Not to mention anti-shipping missiles, air-to-ground missiles, better radar, better engine efficiency, longer range, and all-around better aircraft. But they could not justify adding the F-2 at this time. So they took a proposed aircraft and they're adding that. They couldn't add the F-15 either. F-15J, great aircraft, but I think the F-15 is still a stretch too far. It's a great aircraft. Deal with it. You don't like it? Well, I don't like the Horton 229 or 223 or whatever it is. And there are people that are absolutely in love with that plane. China, again, I am going to ignore because China should be ignored. Nothing got added to Italy, and with the F-16 ADF, with its capabilities, AIM-7Ms, AIM-9Ls, there was really nothing to add there. They also got a attacker, which they desperately needed. And the Tornado IDS, basically copy and paste from Britain. Yes, there are minor differences, but not enough to make it worthwhile. And copy and paste from Germany also. Good plane. France really didn't get anything. And I'm not complaining. They got the 2000 and another 2000. Great. And they have the premium rank 7 aircraft. Nor did you get anything for Sweden or Israel. Now, I understand why they couldn't make this patch as interesting as they made the last patch. They weren't introducing a whole new rank of aircraft and a whole palette full of premium. And believe me, that's what you got in the last patch. You got a palette of them. They probably had to bring that one in with a forklift. Is this a bad patch? No. Is it a great patch? No. It's a squeeze it out update patch with certain modifications. And it's not a bad patch. So what am I looking forward to in the future? Well, for one, I'm looking for the SWIP, the A6 SWIP. And that would go in this rank area here. I would probably see the A7D and the A7E nested, and the A6 between the A10A and the A7s. And the reason I would see the SWIP is because of the air-to-ground guided weaponry that it could carry. It could carry a plethora of air-to-ground missiles and bombs, and anti-shipping missiles and anti-radiation missiles. Of course, so can the A7s and the A10, I believe. But again, we're waiting on Gaijin to decide if we are going to get those weapons. Now, one of the drawbacks for the AGM-45 Shrike is that it was designed for 1960s Soviet air defense radars. Now, those air defense radars were not mobile. They were set up in advance, and they weren't able to break them down and move them at a moment's notice. It isn't like you've got your Tunguska out there with its air search radar or any of the other ground vehicles in the game that can shut the radar off and move. The Shrike wouldn't even pick up on them. Whereas the Harm, the AGM-88, may pick up on them. But we're getting into a situation where maybe air bases would be better covered by installations of SA-2 guideline missiles. That's the NATO reporting. I don't know what the Russian or Soviet designation is. And the like. They had distinct radars, which the Shrike could home in on. The Harm had a much broader seeker head. That's the problem they're running into with anti-radiation missiles. You can't just make a Shrike go after every radar out there. They were designed to go after specific radars. And those radars are not in the game. As much as I would love to put them in, it requires more work. You have to add the SA-2s or whatever the equivalent is. And Gaijin hasn't done that. Now the SA-2s would be good air-based defense weapons. They've got an extremely high altitude capability, and that would basically make them only on the large maps, which means the smaller maps would end up being protected by closer in mobile units of AAA slash SAM launchers. That's just something we're going to have to look at, or Gaijin is going to have to look at down the road. Anti-shipping missiles. Right now, the Tornado IDS Marineflieger is the only anti-shipping missile equipped aircraft. There are several other aircraft capable of carrying anti-ship missiles. The problem is the navies are not up to date. Think about it. The most modern cruisers in the game are from 1946, 1948. No missiles. Now, there's a couple of missile carrying small boats, but nothing in the destroyer class or frigate class. Why? Because those weapons will reach out across the entire battlefield, and they have a very high percentage chance of kill. Is that something that I see coming to the game? I don't know. I don't know if Gaijin will go down that road. I don't know if the game engine will be able to handle going down that road. Now, we know it can handle long-distance radar shots. But when you're talking about missiles that can just reach out and smack something out of the air at distances and altitudes that are just not available in the game. The SM-2 missiles, block whatever, have a very long range. They can reach out and smack things at, well, I don't know as you call it the SM-2 but the Arleigh Burkes and Ticonderogas can smack things out of orbit. Low Earth orbit, yes, but they can still hit things in orbit. Now that's impressive. Hitting a bullet with a bullet, if you will. Taking down intercontinental ballistic missiles with a missile. Is the game going to advance to that point? I have no idea. I doubt it highly. I can't even imagine the scale of the maps that they would have to create. Heck, right now with the ships that we have, the battleships are constrained, heavily constrained. The maps aren't big enough. They should be using Boulogne-sur-Mer. And I know I pronounced that wrong, so sorry, Francophones. It wasn't intentional. It's just I don't speak French. Basically, the English Channel map. That's one of the biggest maps in the game. And it's got a lot of ocean. That would almost be the perfect size for the match, the game, for naval. Iwo Jima would be a good match for the game, naval. You gotta remember, some of those guns can reach out 20 miles. 20 miles. You do the metric conversion, 1.6 kilometers per mile. And yes, and naval, that is 20,000 yards per nautical mile, which is longer than a statute mile. But during World War II, battleships like Nevada and Texas were within 1,000 yards of the shore, blasting away at German defenses. Yeah, think about that. 14-inch shells being fired from 1,000 yards difference. Of course, they were also hitting targets well inland. Disrupting troop concentrations by literally tearing them apart and blowing up tanks and supplies. Are we getting that? Nah, we're not. To make this game more realistic, Gaijin's going to have to do a lot of work. It's fun. It's fun. Don't get me wrong. I would like to see a lot of different maps. Much larger maps, too. Ones where bombers spawn in at 15 to 30,000 feet. Where you have more than 12 players on a side. And if you can't have more than 12 players, make up the difference in AI. And make them aggressive. The AI, that is. Not overpowered aggressive, but aggressive. And yes, they should conform to the same capabilities as human pilots. Not being able to pull 8G maneuvers indefinitely without blanking. Back in the day, that was one of the worst things in the game. A Japanese Zero could turn from high speed indefinitely, and there was nothing you could do to get inside of him because he could outmaneuver you at every level. Your only chance was a hit and run. And I've already gone on longer than I should have in this video. Now, patch, not bad, not great. Naval got some interesting things. Britain got 2 ships in the blue water, I believe. Blue water. Nope. Coastal. Yep. HMS Whitby and HMCS, Canadian ship, Terra Nova. Basically the same class. One's a premium, one's not. Some tanks were added. US T1E1. Basically an M6 prototype. It has a 75 millimeter M3 gun rather than a 76 millimeter M1. Other than that, it's basically an M6. Yep, 76, M7 cannon, excuse me. 76 millimeter M7. So, the T1E1 is basically in the wrong position with the M6A1. It should be swapped. But that's all I've got for you today. This is Subdued signing off. Y'all have a pleasant today, a better tomorrow. We'll catch you in the sky in Air Realistic on the good maps, and Gaijin is starting to get more good maps. Subdued. Out!